Right. It's me stretching because I'm old. Bear with me 1 second. Start. Oh. Oh, thank you very much. Whoever's just become a member. Who is this? Drenix. Thank you very much for becoming a YouTube member. Appreciate it. Oh, I went so high pitched there. Now let's bring this microphone slightly closer to my face. Perfect. Let's lower this music volume. Great. And then... let's click on this. Perfect. And then maybe my face. Dreamy. Hello! I hope everyone is doing well. Lantern Nick, Bored, you're the best. Thank you for all the objective, unbiased content. I mean, I'd say I'm reasonably biased. I'm like very, very, very much into Star Citizen. I'm a big Star Citizen fanboy. I love the project, love the devs, love the community. And my channel is based on Star Citizen content, so it sort of wants Star Citizen to do well. I suppose you could certainly argue that I'd probably get more views and my channel would be more popular if Star Citizen was doing poorly, or I was critical of, extremely critical of Star Citizen. And critical is the wrong word, you know, hated on Star Citizen. Critical is fine. And I think I'm relatively critical of the project sometimes for certain things. It's just very much my opinion on stuff, though. But I appreciate the sentiment there. I appreciate you watching my stuff because you feel that it's relatively objective, which is nice, because I would like to present the news in a form that's, you know, the news, rather than something that's gone through a load of filters and then been rewritten to, you know, spin it. But I can only give you stuff from my point of view and my bias. But I appreciate that. Thank you very much. I'm certainly not in any way, shape, or form in bed with CIG, but I do like them, I suppose. I actively avoid things that could be them feeding me delicious things like free ships and stuff. You notice that a load of content creators got a load of free ships, and I was offered a free ship to give away to my community. You see lots of CIG sponsored streams, because they gave away a mole, and I went, thank you very much, but I will not accept, at the moment, I cannot accept a free ship for giveaway. I fund it myself or whatever, fund it through the Patreon or whatever. Basically, people watching my stream funding it much, much more readily than I would allow CIG to do that. And that's because you don't want to be in a position where you are unable to render your opinion because you're worried about how it will affect you getting the free stuff, or the stuff that you need to keep on going, or the prizes, or the get to fight to events and stuff. I'd rather not be on the blacklist from CIG, but I'd rather not be on any lists from CIG. Do you see what I mean? That's fair enough, right? I occasionally do a little rant where I talk about how amazing I am for not accepting free ship. But it's not that. It's for the long-term growth of my channel. If people call me a shill, I want them to be wrong in that summary of me. Hello. Was watching The Expanse, instantly switched to Bored. Lol. Oh, thank you very much. That's a high praise. I've only watched the first season of The Expanse. I need to get on to the rest at some point. Where is my UEE battle cruiser? I would expect... So one of the earlier stretch goals was to have battlecruisers and other classes of large ship. I would expect to see battlecruisers and things like that in the future. At some point, Star Citizen will go, fuck it, let's make every ship ever over the next 10 years. Do you know what I mean? Like, there's no reason for them not to do that. They might as well keep on expanding more and more ships, but also they need to get gameplay elements and gameplay loops and Squadron 42 out, the core gameplay sorted, and then the persistent universe fleshed out. Not necessarily all in that order or in any order beyond doing it all at the same time. They're not mutually exclusive, is what I'm trying to say. Oh, thank you very much. Someone else has chucked money at me. Not sure. Thank you very much. Becoming a YouTube member. Not sure. Appreciated. You legend. People chucking in with the board YouTube memberships. So something I was planning on promoting at some point. Like, if you want to support the channel further, I might as well. Fuck it. We started on a strong. Why are people saying 5:34? What does that mean? Is that when I started? What? At night? Are people saying the time of day it is for them? Are you an hour ahead? I see. I might as well shill for myself. And if you want to support the channel further, you can directly donate. You can Patreon. You can subscribe star. You can BoredGamer join button on YouTube. Or you can just literally comment, talk about, give me feedback, message me. Content. No, not content. Content at BoredGamer will actually get through to me. I need to make that a more... Content's a good one. Better than feedback, maybe. Contact at boardgamer.co.uk will get straight through to me. I am starting to do the... and looking for a couple of orgs for January to do org spotlights with. So if people have got suggestions for that, there's a thread on my Discord. Is stream basically a review of the latest visuals trailer? We will look at the visuals trailer. I also want to look at the slightly older Squadron 42 trailer. Potentially even the Old Man speech. Gary Oldman's speech, not Old Man speech. That would be something else, because Mark Hamill plays Oldman. I'm confusing myself. The Admiral Bishop speech from a while ago. Do I have milk? If I could sell my milkshake, I would. Here for the milkshake, nice. It's so weird. Let me see that beautiful face. What's the name of Santa's wife? I don't know. What? What? I think people would say typically it's Mrs. Claus, traditionally known as. Or Ms. Claus. Do you think Star Citizen could benefit from turning to a 6-month patch cycle instead of a 3-month one? I can imagine it taking a lot of extra time to polish it every 3 months. Yeah, so doing a 6-month patch cycle, so releasing a major patch every 6 months, should, in theory, speed up the game's development overall, in my opinion, but you'd have less iterated features. It depends. I think them having to do less branching and then merging the branches back in saves resources, time, and money. It might not necessarily mean the game is developed faster. But if they use that money to then get more teams to work on stuff that they need to work on the backlog, then it would speed up the development. I was talking to someone the other day saying, like, why aren't they hiring loads and loads and loads more devs constantly? Because they're at around 550, I believe. But in 2018, they only hired 11 new devs. And it was like, well, that's interesting. Only 11 new devs. I thought they would have hired more than that. But it sort of like makes more sense when you think about they actually originally, for the last like 3 years prior to that, they were hiring lots of junior staff, as well as some senior members, lots of junior developers that are now getting better and better and better at their jobs. And if they hire more junior staff, that's probably bad for the project, or at least would slow down areas of the project because they have to get them up to speed and they're not going to be particularly efficient. If they hire more senior and mid-level staff, then they're going to be able to get up to speed much quicker and help on certain areas of the project. So they're hiring for specific areas that they very, very, very much need to get a senior member of staff in at the moment. That's what it looks like for the hiring practices. And they're building, at the moment, CIG are building their marketing department and that sort of stuff. And I go, what? Why are they building their marketing department? Well, their $46 million investment they got from the Calder brothers was for building out a lot of their sort of like marketing, getting the game ready, Squadron 42 mainly, for being released, and then Star Citizen in general being marketed and advertised, I suppose. So they are going to want a developed marketing department to be able to do that. Not a huge one, but a moderate-sized one that's at least got infrastructure. So I was analysing summarising their financials the other day from 2018 and some of the 2019 information that we have, and it's very interesting because in 2019, so this December, for example, they've already earned over $10 million in funding, which is insane. That's just from ship purchases, it looks like, which madness. And they've actually been earning more and more each month, it looks like, at least through 2018, from subscriptions as well. It was like 3.2 mil, up from 3 mil, which is weird as well. I thought that subscriptions would have dropped off a little bit in protest for not having enough content to warrant the subscription, or because people wanted more video content. But that doesn't appear to have happened. It actually appears to have gone up, and obviously there's more citizens. But obviously some people are happy with the content they're getting, which is totally viable and totally fine to have that opinion. So, oh, thank you very much. Someone chucking money at me, very much appreciated. Hey, Board, what do you think the zero-G gameplay will look like? Thanks. We've got some zero-G gameplay already, like you can EVA in space, but the addition is going to be push and pull. So you're literally going to be able to propel, move your character around with your hands, whether or not you've got an EVA pack on. But your EVA pack is going to have a certain amount of fuel and that sort of stuff. And there's going to be lots of different types of EVA pack, and it's going to be based on your armor and that sort of stuff as well. And it's going to create signatures, which you're going to be detected by. You're going to literally be able to pull and push yourself around. There are going to be gravity generators on ships, the larger ones anyway, where if you turn off those gravity generators or disable them, you lose gravity there. They're still working on the water and exactly how they want water to work in that situation. They might have it that the water gets flushed away and it gets covered up or just gets drained away from the area. That's the simpler way of doing it. There might be areas where there is water floating around on a much smaller scale. But the other thing is that EVA packs are going to act like gravity boots. So basically your EVA pack will thrust down on surfaces, expending quite a lot of fuel to simulate gravity. But that could also potentially allow you to walk on ceilings in a zero gravity environment or in space. But I hope that answers your question to some degree, Arthur Sargasian. Is it Sargasian? Is that how I pronounce that? Best ship to invest on today. That depends what you mean by that. If you're talking about with real life money, my tip to you is either go just for a standard Mustang Alpha and invest in PC hardware. Bam, and then grind some missions. You could go up to a Avenger Titan. That would be, if you have a little bit of money and you don't mind spending it in the game. Avenger Titan is, in my opinion, the best ship to start the game with. It's like a starter ship. Everything else can be obtained in-game, at some point at least. And at the moment, you can rent stuff like a Prospector within a few hours of gameplay with your Avenger Titan or with your Mustang Alpha. You can rent a Prospector for a day, so for 24 hours, and then use that to make enough money, that Prospector, by mining, to rent it for a week or potentially buy one in-game pretty quick. So there's the ability to leverage ships and rentals already. What else have we got here? Isn't the Javelin a battle cruiser? No, it's a destroyer. Javelin is a destroyer. And the Retribution is a Dreadnought or Super Dreadnought. I'm not sure of the difference between Dreadnought and Super Dreadnought. But since we don't have any other Dreadnoughts in-game, I suspect a Dreadnought is probably the accurate description of what it is. Any info on the label stop resets in patches? So 3.8 is, so the current patch cycle is where they're supposed to have platform persistence, which will mean that we have less resets. 3.8 doesn't have platform persistence yet, though. It's coming in the 3.8.x patch in the new year. And once we have that, that means less resets. So they can potentially save and store database information between patches and patch cycles. So you certainly won't see resets during a patch cycle of 3.8 to 3.8.1 to 3.8.2 and that sort of stuff. And you might not see one between 3.9 and 4.0 and stuff like that. However, they still may need to do resets. Once they have full platform persistence and they go, great, this is all working fine, we've got better ways of dealing with databases, then we won't have any more resets until they need to do them by changing over to UEC. Once they change over to UEC from Alpha UEC, that is permanent progress. But in the shorter term, it's going to be your Alpha UEC and Alpha UEC purchases, which are saved, or shaved as well. Why not? Thank you very much, Mr. Pinks. Very much appreciate the resub. Oh, you star, you legend of a man or woman. I'm assuming Mr. Pinks is a man. But yeah, thank you very much appreciated. What do we got here? Can I have a hello? Spent all day in A&E. Lionheart, I hope you're alright. I know you obviously something went wrong. I'm not sure if it was you that needed to be in A&E or one of your loved ones, but I'm very sorry that you had to do that. Hope you are okay. Hope everything is sorted now. It is me indeed. 2020, the year of release, or another delay. That's that's a great name for a video. Thanks very much, Star Citizen Gaming. Perfect name for a clickbait title. So we could potentially have Squadron 42 releasing at the end of 2020. That is optimistic for sure. But BBC Click have said it. Mark Hamill said it. CIG have not said it yet, though. They're the people that should know. CIG, they're certainly going to have stuff move around on roadmaps for the Persistent Universe and for Squadron 42 even. Yeah, the current plan for Squadron 42, on the roadmap anyway, is a feature-complete beta for Q3 2020. That's not a playable beta from like me and you's point of view. Mine and yours. It's not going to be in our hands. It could potentially be, but I doubt it. It might be in Eva Cardi hands very briefly, Aaron Roberts said, before they actually release, just to make sure that some of the stress testing and terrible bugs and stuff that you might have missed get sorted. But the idea there is that they want to have a feature-complete beta by Q3 2020. That could be delayed further. That could be moved back. It's going to be it's going to be done when it's done. And that's a shitty thing to say, but it's true. Now, Star Citizen both suffers hugely, and it's a massive benefit to it, having no publisher, having this crowdfunded project, and this madness. So what's happened with it is that because you didn't have a publisher, they don't have to stick to any timeframes, that they can just go delaying it. They're not held under the fire for that. They can keep on iterating on it. They can keep on improving it. They can redo stuff. That might make for an amazing product. But also, the hype of sort of like selling new ships and feature creep actually is beneficial to them. So feature creep, what would have previously been known as feature creep, they can sell that. They can market that. Now, Star Citizen is starting to deliver on a load of its tech and promises now and building its core in, and we haven't seen much in the way of feature creep in the last 18 months. We've certainly seen updates to stuff, we've certainly seen them starting to deliver on stuff, and we've seen more stable roadmaps. I mean, they're certainly not always perfectly accurate, but it's a really interesting project, Star Citizen, for me to explore, and I love what they're doing on paper. I love the community, I love the devs, I love the ambitiousness of the project, and I don't feel it's traditional feature creep, although it certainly has been adding features, but they are trying to fulfill all those features, like genuinely, and not sort of like pipe dream. It is getting there, just slowly. $2029 or 2030 for a release board. I mean, Star Citizen, I think they'll consider it being released, the Persistent Universe, to a version 1 state. V1 of Star Citizen. Let's give it a quick sort of like 2024 for a V1 of Star Citizen. Playable before that, fully persistent before that, almost certainly. Server meshing and all that sort of stuff before that. And then after that, I would expect it to be given love for 10 to 15 years. Quite genuinely. Probably more like 10 years. Because I suspect there'll be a load of new tech that comes out. And they'll keep on improving Star Citizen. Maybe it'll be longer. But yeah, that would be my expectation. Do you think sneaky peeky what we saw in the Squadron 42 trailer was the new reworked scythe? Yeah, yes. So new scythe, new glaive. We saw the what I believe to be the stinger, and obviously the blade. We'll look through that Squadron 42 visual teaser in a second, as we go through all the questions I've got here first, and then we'll look at some Squadron 42 stuff, and we'll talk a bit about that, because I thought that was very cool. I would have wished it was slightly more in context with a video with it as well. So CIG talking, so they show us that teaser, and then doing a video as well, talking about what they've been working on with Squadron 42, the Squadron 42 update, and put it all in context. Fucking great. That would have been perfect end of year thing to do. But do you want me to grow a Viking beard? I'd be alright with a Viking beard, I think. I was thinking it would take a away from the rest of my oddly shaped potato head. 3.8 was more polished because of staggered development. You said with 3.8 you'd be more critical of your general thoughts on 3.8. 3.8 seems pretty buggy, thanks. I haven't had that many bugs. However, I'm aware of a lot of bugs. I will be doing a 3.8 state of the game and going through it all later on within the next 7 days. It's one of my high priority videos to do. And I might even do a sort of like a bug report as well as a video, literally trying to look through and identify bugs that are commonly found in the game. Like this needs to be triaged. The triage center. We'll call it something like that. And we'll look at bugs that are very common that need to be sorted ASAP. And maybe some funny ones as well. Something like that. That seems like good content, right? And that's the remit of my channel. That's what I want to do with my channel. Star Citizen content in all forms. So 3.8 for me is the most playable version of Star Citizen we've ever had. There are still bugs, and I will be critical of those bugs that prevent you from playing certain areas of the game. Yes, 100%. Hey, Bob, do you think they're targeting Squadron 42 being the main theme of CitizenCon 2020? Yes. That would be my expectation. It might even be a launch party for it. In that Squadron 42 video, were there a small rework of the hull of the Vandal ships? There was a big rework on the glaive and the scythe. Also, I hope they make the Vandal ships worth it. Those Vandal ships look fucking amazing. How long did it start before you started making money with your channel? 2 years, realistically. But that was me doing, not knowing what game I was doing. I was doing like Titanfall and then VR and Diablo 3, and moved more into VR, then moved into Star Citizen VR, and then went, fuck me, I love Star Citizen, and then I started doing loads of Star Citizen content. Although, I do, once I've got Zune working for me, I'm going to be expanding the channel slightly to do some other stuff, or doing some stuff on second channels, for sure. But more Star Citizen content, better Star Citizen content, better edited Star Citizen content, better B-roll. I'm sort of like using Morphologis's and Nirian's sort of like editing and camera work style for my videos is what I'm using for the gold standard. That's sort of like what I want from an editor and someone that's working with me, getting those shots. My Mobo died. Board is the best way to fuel my Star Citizen addiction until the new one arrives. Sorry, man, that you're... Oh, it's shitty when hardware explodes. I'm looking forward... So I'll be building, in the next few weeks, a Star Citizen rig using a Ryzen 3950X, which is going to be... It's going to be a semi-sponsored build. What I mean by that is I have asked some companies to assist me, not CIG, not Star Citizen, I've asked some companies to assist me in building a rig, which I will then use for my content and Star Citizen PC. And it's going to be a very, very pretty Star Citizen one, built with Star Citizen in mind, but also editing and content creation in mind. I'll play other games on it as well, but it's going to be, it's going to look very Star Citizen as well. Looking forward to that. Did you think that when Chapter 1 of Squadron 42 was released... Sorry. Do you think that when Chapter 1, Episode 1 of Squadron 42 is released, they will add the citizenship mechanic to the persistent universe? That's a good point. So, one of the things is that when you play through Squadron 42, you're supposed to get citizenship on your main character, or we can pay for citizenship or something, and that infers something. I don't know. We know that Squadron 42 is going to be integrated into the persistent universe in the sense that you can have your characters in Squadron 42 in the persistent universe, and retroactively, when you complete stuff in Squadron 42, it unlocks stuff for you in the persistent universe with that character. So, like the ability to get an F8 Lightning and military gear and military tech and stuff like that. So, yes, but at what point? I don't know. I would love to see the Prometheus shipping game. Do you think that's possible? The Prometheus, isn't the Reclaimer very Prometheus-like? Already? Do we get to keep our Alpha UEC currently in this 3.8 point whatever patch? Or is that coming in a 3.8.x patch? Yes, it's coming in a 3.8.x patch, is the platform persistence that we talked about. What kind of headphones are these? These are Sennheiser HD R180s. They're quite old Sennheiser wireless headphones. They were a couple £100 at the time. They are quite expensive. There are better wireless headsets around for sure. But these ones are now part of me. They were some of the best at the time anyway. And actually hand-me-downs from my brother. So. Any idea when the Caterpillar will be back? You'll see it from time to time. Is the Caterpillar not on sale currently then? Sometimes I get confused what ships are actually on sale. I would expect this year... No, sorry. I would expect 2020. The Caterpillar is on sale in ship packs. I see. But not as a solo ship at the moment. Okay. That's good to know. I'd expect modularity this year. I'd expect some of the modules for the Caterpillar to go on sale this year. Or go into game this year. Next year, sorry, 2020. I already think we're in 2020. My bad. And I would expect the Caterpillar to go on sale a few times in 2020. Will server meshing come soon? No, it probably won't be finished by the end of 2020 either. They'll be working on it now. And they'll be getting optimizations in the game and prerequisites for server meshing and iterating on server-side object container streaming and even client-side and the merging of that. So we already have server-side object container streaming now, which is a prerequisite of server meshing. But they'll be working towards it. They said at the end of 2020 they want it to be very close to being able to release it. So you might see it. It's just unlikely. Probably Q1 2021. Thanks. Appreciated, mate. Moly, moly, moly. Indeed, JP Sandman. Thank you very much. Much appreciated for the resub. And great one. Thank you very much for the donation. Oh, you start. Blah, 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 blah. Other people have chucked money at me. I didn't even see it. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Lucky Charms. Hey, Board. Thoughts on the mole? Worth it for 2 people. I would say 2 prospectors are probably better, in my opinion, just because you can cover more ground and scan more stuff. Just that, really, if you're getting a mole, you want 4 people. Even if a couple of those people are NPCs. Worth it for 2 people. If you get a couple of NPCs to help you on it, yes. Although, make sure when we have NPC crew that we can hire, that they are trained in operating the mining laser, because they did say that if they're not trained, they could blow up your ship. They could be very bad at mining. But in my opinion, the mole is at least 3 people, preferably 4 people for operation. I'm sure some people will operate it with 2 people and be like, look at us, we are able to operate with 2 people. And it works really well. But I just feel that maybe 2 prospectors are probably better. Sir David Betty. Super Dreadnoughts are, at least in terms of waterborne ships, the difference of 25% increase in mass and the increase in firepower. Though the term Dreadnought can be assigned to both types. Okay. So, when we're looking at Super Dreadnoughts, I'm going to blow my nose. I'm very sorry, I had a cold recently. You might be able to hear it on the camera. You will be able to hear it on the camera. Or the microphone. Have some of that. Yeah, so Super Dreadnoughts. We'll have Dreadnoughts first, whatever. And then we can increase their size and say they're Super Dreadnoughts, I suppose. Do you think Star Citizen could ever benefit from a free-to-play option that excludes players from actually flying ships, so players can have crews if they wish? I don't think that... I mean, maybe in the far future, fuck it, why not? I think Star Citizen could benefit from a free-to-play Theatres of War, Star Marine, and Arena Commander mode. Yeah, do that. Allow people to earn rec and encourage them to buy the game and get into the Resistance universe. It could certainly benefit from a free-to-play option for that. Do you think that the Constellation series needs to have inner space rework? I would like to see its cockpit get the more strutless, rigid cockpits that they've given some of the latest RSI ships. I certainly wouldn't complain about a small interior rework of the Constellation, but nothing major. I don't want them to keep on remastering ships every fucking year. Oh. Should I buy an Xmas bundle with Squadron 42? You'll be waiting a long time to play Squadron 42 if you do. But I mean, I would recommend people buy Squadron 42 now rather than later because it's going to be a lot more expensive when they actually release it. Do you see what I mean? What about a redesign of the Starfarers? I'd expect a functionality tweak to the Starfarers once they have gas mining, but not all ships will keep on getting light additions to them, like textures, additional textures, lighting passes, stuff like that. So materials updates and things like that. They need more ship teams. So a lot of the ship guys, I think was there 15 to 20 or something, dedicated ship guys in the Persistent Universe at the moment. But there's a load of ship guys that are working on Squadron 42 ships or Squadron 42 architecture and interiors for buildings and space stations and stuff. And once they're done with that, they'll move back on to Persistent Universe stuff and finishing off other ships that aren't needed for Squadron 42. In addition to the 20 people or so that are in that are dedicated to working on the Persistent Universe as well. So there are a lot more resources that they will have next year once they've completed all of the tasks. I think the Prospect has still got its uses with the Mole. So in my idea, there's Prospectors and Moles working together. The Prospector, very, very good at operating the Lancet. So the laser that reduces the resistance and instability of a rock. Really, really, really great. And the Prospectors can move more quickly and more readily and more easily because they've got the pilot and the laser controller in the same seat. So they can... Oh, thank you very much, Oldfield Tool. Thank you very much for the $10 donation. And I'm glad you appreciate my 2020 vision. That's a good name for a series as well, thanks. I'll steal that as well. But I like the idea of, obviously, multiple moles and multiple prospectors working together. And the prospectors leading the sort of like scanning charge, going, we're moving here now, we're going here now. Because the moles are great at nomming up a load of rocks quickly, as well, like transferring that and extracting that. But the prospectors are going to be better at supporting that and finding new rocks. In my opinion, anyway. At the moment. Maybe. Do you think the Carrack will be available for free flight when it's released? I think it will probably be available for subscribers at the same time. You'll be able to... They'll probably do a free flight of it at some point near its release. Bounty hunting, refueling, rearming, ship-to-ship, docking, reclamation, ship repair, exploration. Where do you feel CIG's priorities are and what they might be working on in 2020? The main priority for 2020 for Star Citizen is Squadron 42 and core features, networking tech, jump points, a new system, and then lots of gameplay. So, persistent universe-wise, they're adding prisons, they're getting the dynamic economy and dynamic missions in. So it's a load of the core tech that they need. Bounty hunting is obviously easy for them to do because they can just do it iteratively and add more and more and more onto it. They need to get ship-to-ship and ship-to-station docking done, especially to allow larger ships more readily in the universe. And then, yeah, exploration again is something they can iteratively do from patch to patch, and eventually it'll be like, oh shit, we've got exploration. But really, they need to focus on the scanning tech and the sharing of information, of locational data, and increased points of interest. Once they've got all that in, then you have exploration, sort of like as a side product of that. And then they can expand that out for more missions and more specific gameplay and that sort of stuff. So all of those things that you mentioned, other than that, so refueling, rearming, reclamation, so potentially drone gameplay is the thing that you could get for that allow the Vulcan to rearm and refuel. I would definitely expect a load of those things to come in 2020. I mean, salvage, yeah, I would expect them to put it in 2020 as well. But exactly when, I don't know. And I don't think we'll get all of that in 2020, but I do think we'll get salvage. I do think we'll get a load of new gameplay. We'll get a lot more of the core of the game, but the focus is Squadron 42. Do you think the citizenship... that's right, we talked about that already. Thoughts on the Vandal redesign? They look sharp, but maybe too smooth. No, I love the new Vandal stuff, and I think it's very in line with what they wanted the Vandal to look like. And we'll talk more about that in a second. We will have a look at the Squadron 42 teaser stuff. Hey, board, is CIG ever going to build a megaship that's going to be flyable by player? Yeah, I mean, the Bengal will be flyable by player. Maybe the Redemption-style ships, if there's not just one of them, in the future will be flyable by player. When do you think Quantum hits the PU? Are you talking about the economy stuff and the Quanta? So, 3.9 onwards, they're going to start to expand out the dynamic mission system and the economy. And that's the sort of iterative process you'll see with Tony Zarevic's Quanta, whatever the fuck he called them, and the dynamic economy. So it will start from there. We are only talking about Squadron 42 Episode 1, which is the episode that they'd previously talked about and have always talked about. They also want to do an Episode 2 and Episode 3, which are, again, effectively standalone AAA games, additionally to Episode 1. They're not splitting it down into lots of different parts. They're adding extra games. Grandel, thank you very much for the bits. Very much appreciated. You just mentioned it's beta. Is it possible backers will be able to test it? It's possible, but unlikely, in my opinion. I talked to Aaron Roberts about it, and he said that maybe they'll allow Cardi access to it just before they release it. But they don't want spoilers of the game, so they're not going to release it to a beta that a load of people can play. But it's possible that they'd have a test level or a test beta or something, a very small part of it to play. But we'll have to wait and see. What do you think a realistic hope for Merchantman to make it in the game is? Are you talking about when do you think it's going to be in the game? They can work on the Merchantman now because they've got... Well, they're finishing developing the Banu pipeline at the moment. They've got the Defender, and they were working out exactly the confirmed metrics and what they wanted in the Merchantman at the moment. I think it's sort of like a mid-2021 ship at the moment, realistically. Will Star Citizen pull a Wildstar? I'm not sure what that means. I remember enjoying Wildstar when I first played it. Did they just, like, fuck off with Wildstar? Is that what happened? Did it suddenly just go, nope, see you later? The Squadron 42 teaser we got this year had no gameplay or mechanics really shown. It was in engine. And, what do you mean? Mechanics? There's not going to be that much mechanics in Squadron 42 beyond ship combat and adventure and action. You'd rather see more gameplay. You would actually want to see a gameplay experience rather than the visuals. Thank you. It seems reasonable. As a cargo hauler, we could really benefit from a tow truck type service to move your ship when it's in the crash. Yeah, the Argo SRV is a tractor beam tow ship. That's literally what it is. And other ships with tractor beams will be able to help move ships as well. The SRV is able to move medium ships with its tractor beams, and the multiples of those are able to get together to move the larger ships. Hey, Bold, what do you think? Hey, Bold, do you think it would be beneficial at some point for CIG to stop work on the persistent universe and more focus fully on Squadron 42? No, because working on the persistent universe, they are obviously, it's not mutually exclusive to work on Squadron 42 and the persistent universe. They share the same dev branch, and then they split off for persistent universe releases. And Squadron 42 features obviously filter into the persistent universe, same engine, same game. Well, sort of the same game, same universe, same sort of game. But they are mostly focusing on Squadron 42, and once they've finished with that, hopefully a large portion of the Squadron 42 tech and projects will be done next year. They'll start to get more of those teams onto the persistent universe. How's your Christmas, mate? Great. I was exhausted, though. I cooked for my family and some of the partners and stuff, and I did a load of prep on Christmas Eve, and then on Christmas Day, I did everything. It was nice food. I wasn't really hungry when I was eating, which is a shame. And then afterwards, I was just so fucking exhausted that I basically just like dead in the chair, just sort of half talking to people. I was like, I had the cold, and I just got over it. I was just exhausted. I used to cater for like hundreds of people and stuff, and this was just the most exhausting catering experience I've ever had for a small amount. It was weird. Good though. It's good to see people. Do you agree that the Starfarer inner floor plan needs to be reworked? Not necessarily. No. I think it's too complicated to get around. I don't agree with that. I don't agree that it's too complicated. I think it's fine, probably. I don't fly one regularly, but I do know the interior in my head. Any news on the RSI Polo release? Nope. No updates on that at all. What else have we got here? Didn't think I'd have so many fucking questions. I've got 500 people watching me. That's monstrous. I feel like we must segregate the difference between stability and bugs. Now I feel that the 3.8 build is mostly stable, more stable than we've ever had, and the bugs are about normal. The point I'm making is that now legitimately we have a foundation to build out the rest of the game. What do you think? Yeah, I mean, that's been true of 3.0 onwards. I mean, yeah, 3.0 was a buggy monster of a build, but it was the foundation, the skeleton of which the rest of the game is built on. Now we have a bit of muscle, bit of a nervous system on that skeleton, and a bit of stability. It's able to operate, and they've done a load of the milestones that they needed to get done and needed to prove that they could do. It's still not anywhere near a proper game yet or anything like that, but it is it's certainly getting there. Are we going to see? When are we going to see the new UI in game? They're going to be updating the UI over 2020. I'm not sure when we'll actually start to see it. I'm not sure we'll start to see it piecemeal. They want to make everything more tactile as well, so you'll see elevators and consoles and stuff, less in authority and more tactile buttons. That's all planned for 2020, I believe. You're going to be able to hire NPC crew in the future, yes, and put AI modules in turrets that they do basic tasks, like shoot a particular type of enemy or within a certain range. Hi, Board. What do you think we're... Hi, Board. Do you think from what we see in the teaser, Squadron 42 launch is possible at the end of 2020? It is possible. That is what I am hoping for. It is optimistic, though, to expect that. If they do a beta, I said do. They do a beta of Squadron 42 Episode 1, it would be Eva Cartoon, almost certainly, that would have access to that, like maybe a few days before release. So they get a couple of patches out to their thing before release. That would be my expectation there. Do you think ships like the Constellation Phoenix Emerald variant will be available again? You better buy them in-game, probably, from at least other players. And you might get to see them on St. Patrick's Day or whatever, as well, occasionally. When the hell is the medical gameplay coming? Do you think we'll get it in the near future? I think you'll see iterations on medical gameplay. starting with the ability to put med pens and oxy pens in other people and NPCs, potentially even as part of missions to revive them and get them up quickly, and then allow you to drag people, and then add more and more medical features and like respawns and people being knocked down. You've even got people being knocked down now with the stun damage from being punched and melee. So that's just sort of getting more and more medical gameplay, very, very piecemeal, little tiny bits, and eventually they put it all together and you'll have medical gameplay. I do think you'll see that in 2020 as well, at the start of that, with the jabbing of people with medipens. How do you think they'll do with NPC crew retention in the PU? Will we be able to keep our crew trained on a retainer while you look for other ships? I would expect it to be a fee to pay NPCs as an ongoing thing. If you don't pay them, then they leave and go back into the crew pool for other people to hire, potentially. We don't know for sure, is the thing. I'd hope that you wouldn't just lose the crew permanently if you lapse the payment, but maybe you would. Do you agree the mole's layout is silent team play encouragement by CIG? Yeah, I mean, a lot of those ships are meant to encourage team play. Once we have physicalized components and repair and subcomponents and a few other things like that, better MFDs, then you start to get into a territory where team play, multi-crew, and working together is really, really important and really fun. At the moment, we've got very sort of like a placeholder experience for it. What do you think about Planet Tech V4? I love the way it makes certain bits of planets look, and certain types of planet look fucking amazing with it, and it's really good for geometry and not popping in. Assets like buildings and small rocks, they still pop in or fade in, which I don't love at the moment, but that's something that they are going to fix and iterate on. I want to be able to see forests from orbit rather than the forest fade in, or forests from high up. I don't like the use of fog and lighting to cover large areas. It's like a mixture of the weather effects, the fog, and the lighting now obscure a lot of the zones. I like quite clean views, but obviously it looks more realistic to have fog and diffusion of the light across the fog and stuff like that. So it looks great, but there's some things that I would have I'd prefer to be able to see ArcCorp, like very clean as it rotates. But now there's a load of smog and stuff that sort of obscures the city's view, and it's like, I understand why they did it. It looks better. Well, it looks more realistic now. And some plants look so much better with Planet Tech V4. But some things are just like, oh, I quite liked it before. We'll look at Narayan's comparison video as well, actually, in a minute. Any news about Vulkan graphics implementation? They're working on it. I would expect to see it next year. Obviously, it's important for Squadron 42, and then it will filter into Star Citizen. It's really important they get their renderer stuff sorted. I will look through the mining heads in a lot more detail in the future. You said quantum travel is taking less time now. Is that possible by buying different quantum drives? Yes. So quantum travel is quicker at the moment. It uses a lot more fuel, and you need to refuel, especially in smaller ships, a lot more quickly, a lot more often. But you will travel a lot quicker. So 4-minute journey rather than 15-minute journey sort of thing. Maybe not that. It's about that for some of them. But you do need to go to rest stops on the way. And different quantum drives have different stats as well. The footage behind me is from CitizenCon 2019 of some of the stuff we're getting in 2020. So some of the stuff we got in 3.8, some is coming in 3.9, and some of it is coming throughout the 2020 period. So the pyro system and jump points, for example, they're in 2020. But I'm really happy they gave us the Banning Measurement, the Caterpillar. Banning Measurement owners the Caterpillar while we wait for the Banning Measurement race. Yeah, that makes sense. What is the PvP bounties listed in the 3.9 roadmap? does that mean adding the ability for players to place bounty on another player? That's what I expected it to mean. Allowing bounties to be placed on other players more readily. But general sort of like expansion of bounty hunter and bounty hunter gameplay. Does Squadron 42 have the same limitations with AI as the PDE? If not, will we see combat like Battlefield? Squadron 42 is a single-player game, which means that they can fake a lot more of the AI, or at least the AI is significantly easier to do for Squadron 42, because they don't have to have it spawning in a multiplayer environment and reacting to lots of different sources of players or anything. It's semi-scripted, on-rails environment, or much more on-rails than the business universe is, and significantly easier for them to do. Hey Board, has anything been said about naming our ships? Yeah, you'll be able to name your ships in the future. Only one of each hull of each particular ship will be able to have that name uniquely. So you could have a Mustang called the Enterprise, and you could have a Starfarer called the Enterprise. But you couldn't have two Starfarers named the Enterprise. And yeah, no duplicate names within the same hull. That's for everyone. So there can only be one named ship of that type for the entire hull series. For the you know what I mean. You know what I mean. Ship armor and physicalized damage keep being mentioned. I don't see them on the roadmap. Where are they? They're being worked on. They're not on the roadmap. Well, they might be on the Squadron 42 roadmap. In fact, I'd expect them to be on the Squadron 42 roadmap. Let me bring this up. Would it be in gameplay or core feature? The core tech? Do you classify it as core tech? I think it may be core. Yeah. There you go, buddy. So, they've been working on it. They may have already finished it for Squadron 42's needs. Physical damage system. Making use of the physics engine to create a system that looks spectacular but behaves realistically when objects such as large ships are being damaged by weaponry, colliding with other ships, locations, or even planets. But also the physical damage system takes into account armor, damage projectile type, the physical damage it does to the armor, penetration, does it hit a component, and that requires physicalized components as well. So when you actually hit a component, it does damage to that component. There's no virtual health pools of ships, like when you take a ship's health down to 0, it doesn't explode. There isn't a ship health. It's specific to each of the individual components that you hit. So you can disable a ship's engines. You can blow up the ship's power plants and stuff like that. In fact, that's a very viable way of disabling a gambler ship. Destroy all its power plants or destroy all its engines. Someone has sent me a load of subs. Narek, thank you very much for gifting subs to everyone. Ginny Trucking, Cloud 88F, Jenin Cube 2. Thank you very much for all accepting the gifts of Narek. Oh, you star. You're an absolute legend. Thank you very much, Narek. You gem of a man. The new bearing sniper sounds a bit wimpy. Robert Johnston, I'm not a massive fan of that new snipper riffle. Once we have a bit more refined network code and animations for characters, maybe I'll enjoy sniping a bit more. But at the moment, it's just sort of like, you know, you shoot them in the chest, you might hit them in the head. You shoot them in the head, they might not even be there anymore. They might be behind you with a knife. It's the netcode's not great at the moment, so sniping not really for me yet. Have you used Track Eye on Star Citizen? Yes, but a long time ago. Worked pretty well. But they've got head tracking in Star Citizen now with a camera, so that might be more preferable to a lot of people. Hey, Bob, thanks for the awesome videos. You're the best. Thank you very much. So, how excited are you for Squadron 42? I'm not massively excited by single-player games, typically. Boneworks, Half-Life Alyx, Squadron 42, Half-Life, Final Fantasy VII Remake. I think that's the only single-player games I'm really interested in at the moment. Squadron 42, yeah, I'm excited. Oh, Cyberpunk. Obviously Cyberpunk as well. So I'm excited for all of those. for 2020, potentially 2020. Hoping that Squadron 42 is as well. Yeah, it's something I play on my channel. It's something I'll do a bit of analysis of and try and do some silly stuff in. Hey, Bored, happy holidays. I take it the Quanta mean no more static trade routes and commodity locations and more flying around looking for stuff. You'll still see probably static routes, or at least routes that are long-term routes for trade. But a lot more opportunities for people that also want to search around. And we need a larger gameplay area and stuff like that as well, though. Did they say anything on the state of partial persistence? Yeah, we talked about that. It will be in a 3.8.x patch. That's what they've said. When it comes to medical, with some ships having MRI-style scanners, will there be other forms of medicine, fixing broken bones or poisoning after a medical person works but what's wrong and applies the correct treatment? And there's going to be some form of medical gameplay, some form of either mini game or working out what treatment's appropriate. There's 3 tiers of damage to a person typically. Tier 1, which is life-threatening, near-death injuries. Tier 2, which is multiple damaged or crippled limbs. And tier 3, which is potentially like a single damaged limb or light injuries. But there's obviously going to be status effects like poisoning and hunger, and there's going to be this player status system. Maybe if you're maybe you can get poisoned and stuff like that, and then the treatment facilities will be able to solve that. We don't have a full breakdown of medical gameplay. It's going to be an iterative process. As they add more and more of other stuff, they'll add more and more medical gameplay at the same time. BoredGamer, do you think we'll see a drop in the minimum requirements when it comes to RAM needed? Yeah, I mean, 12 gigs is probably minimum. I don't think we'll see any drop below that. You're going to see Star Citizen scale much better to more threads, more hardware, whatever. But also, that scaling should go both ways. And you should, with Vulkan integration and some of the other optimizations they're doing, you should be able to run it on a much lower end system, but lower your sliders. We'll get graphics and renderer options basically in the future. Oh, bear with me 1 second. Do you think the Titan suit is still being worked on? Yes. It's yes, it's still being worked on. It was planned for Q4 of 2020 for Squadron 42's needs. See here. So I'm hoping that they got most of the way through it, and potentially we'll see it in 2024 for Star Citizen's Persistent Universe. Do you think alien ships in Star Citizen are like Alienware PCs where people make fun of using something that's overpriced? Honeydew, maybe. There's certainly alien tax on it. Stuff for collectors. Some of the alien ships, for sure. I think they might allow you to maybe blend in with the Vandal. They're less likely to attack you if they detect you. Maybe they're just less likely to detect you in general. Do you think there are ships in Squadron 42 that won't be available until the release of the game? Yeah, there are ships that certainly Squadron 42 ships like the F8 Lightning. Can we CC you to a Nautilus? Yes, when the Nautilus is on sale again. When can we get the Carrack? When we get the Carrack, will we get the Pyro system? No. February is when we get the Carrack. Pyro system some point in 2020. When do you think they'll start testing increased server cap? I don't know. I think it's something that they'll talk about in January, and maybe they'll test it with the Evocati. It's possible that server-side object container streaming will not allow for larger server caps. But I hope they test it, and I hope it does. So I've got the very tail end of a cold, so I'm a bit sniffly. Oh, thank you very much, Robert Johnston. Okay, I'm off to bed now, bored. Keep the fucking noises down, please. Thank you very much. Love you, mate. You're a star, Robert Johnston. A legend amongst men and people in general. What's the status of the Endeavour? Not currently in production. Not in active production. Have you heard that maybe co-op-enabled Squadron 42 with your friends can substitute AI figures? Have you heard otherwise? What? Question mark? That's a really weird word question. They wanted to have co-op Squadron 42 originally. Then they sort of backtracked on that and said that you'll be able to... this is the early stages of the game anyway, when they talk about it originally. And then you'll be able to replay missions and sort of like famous battles co-op, which is sort of like what Arena Commander's kind of become, what they want to do with that. So I'm not sure if Squadron 42 will have any co-op plan. When can we expect these Vandal, Glaive, Blade, and Scythe X in-game? The actual human versions of them are going to be slightly different because they've got different cockpits. So I'm not sure when they finish those cockpits off, they could put them in-game. Woke up late, don't know if you covered this, but what was the Drake ship in the teaser? Was that cut you red, do you think? We'll have a look at that in a second, the actual teaser for Squadron 42. What do you think the best transport for 1 to 2 people at the moment is? Best transport ship? Short range, long range? Just as a shuttle? As a shuttle or Pisces? In the past, you said that you need to calibrate your engines if one of them is shot off, for example. Is this still a thing to come? There's going to be power options and systems management that you can do in-game, eventually. And you have physicalized components and stuff like that, and deeper MFDs and that sort of stuff. I'm not sure to what extent you'd have to calibrate your engines, though. Is higher frequency for CPU or higher core count better for running Star Citizen? They are going to scale to more cores, eventually. It's a mixture of the two, really. I mean, you want CPU frequency and, well, it's not necessarily CPU frequency, it's single core performance is very important at the moment in general games. More and more games are using more and more cores, and Star Citizen will eventually scale to a lot of cores. If player persistence comes in 3.8.x, will there be another wipe then? Yes, I would expect that. Why are most of these questions so dumb? Thanks. I think you've answered your own question. Get ones like that. When will they fix the bug dropping delivery crates? Oh my god, it's so annoying. So crates falling through the floor, boxes falling through the floor, crates being dropped. That is annoying. It is something that is high on their priorities list, high on my criticized list as well. What do you think will be in the priority system? 6 planets and a flare star. So it's going to be dangerous space weather though. Lots of nebula, probably lots of gas clouds, and Ruin Station, which is going to be a pirate station. It is going to be an outlaw high risk zone, and pirate incursions are going to come from there. I've held off playing this game because of bugs and performance issues. With 3.8, do you think performance has improved enough to play this game on a lower end system? It's improved, for sure. How much is what's lower end system to you? The low end systems? Probably not. Doblith! Hey man, good to see you. Happy holidays. Any luck on reading Starship Troopers yet? No. I've no luck on reading Starship Troopers yet. I promise you I will read it at some point, Doblith. And I will do, I'll have little party streamers, and there'll be confetti. I fucking read a book. I promise you I will read it at some point. I know that
a lot of people have actually wanted me to read it now. Other people have been talking about it on Facebook. At least I've noticed them talking about it. Because obviously the World War II style authoritarian regimes of the Empire. I promise you, I will read it at some point. Thank you for effectively buying me that book as well. Very much appreciated. Question: do you know what happened in the Odin system to crack the planet's core? So Odin 1, wasn't it supernova? Was it supernova? Odin, Citizen, and that destroyed the first planet. Odin Star collapsed into a white dwarf. The immediate trauma completely enveloped the system's first planet and quickly boiled off the biospheres of others, killing all native life. So that destroyed it. Collapsing into a white star destroyed the first planet, which made it into the coil. Is Squadron 24 a hero story? No, Squadron 42 a hero story. It will be subjective to each player. There will be changes in each run you do through of the game. There's lots of stuff you can do, apparently. It's not just 100% on rails. There's sub-objectives, there's sub-missions, there are changes. I think different characters can die. Board, you should make an MFD / ship systems tutorial. I could. It wouldn't be too much effort, I suppose. It wouldn't be too full of stuff that you could do at the moment. There's not that much you can do that would affect your gameplay that much at the moment. We started fighting 2 hammerheads, 1v1. Then, regularly, as a tournament, or had PvP tournament play, then systems management would be a big thing. Because that could mean the difference between winning and losing. Has there been any word on the roadmap regarding physicalized components? So the physicalized trifecta of stuff should be coming in 2020 and is a high priority for Star Citizen. So that is physicalized components, physicalized damage, and physical storage / inventories. Double F, I just keep bringing it up at this point in hopes of starting a BoredGamer Starship Troopers meme. Lol. I mean, can he even read meme? Thank you very much, Double F. I do appreciate the fucking support. You're a legend. I will read it. I will. Have we heard anything more about underwater gameplay? No, you'll see swimming at some point, probably in 2020 in the Persistent Universe. And then they'll expand underwater gameplay eventually from there. I did have a nice Christmas, thank you very much. It's very tiring. Still sort of in the middle of it, I suppose. I'm going out with some friends tomorrow. Got New Year's around a mate's house. I was planning on taking some proper time off for Christmas. And taking Christmas Eve and Boxing Day off. But I made videos those days as well. I get really fucking bored and depressed if I'm not working. That's what it is. I need to be doing something. Do you think the Genesis Starlifter will be coming? Starlifter? Genesis Starliner. Will be coming anytime soon. They look like they're going to be potentially doing a glut of Crusader ships in 2020. So it's potentially possible that they want it done for the end of 2020. I'll have to wait and see. Hover Room Live. Congratulations for finding my channel. Right. We are going to look at the title of this stream, which is the Squadron 42 cinematic teaser. So let's bring this bad boy up. So this cinematic teaser. No, this is the wrong one. This is the original one. Let's not look at that. Look at this one. So, on Christmas Day, they went, this is some of the ships and work that we've been doing on Squadron 42. I'll pause it maybe occasionally. So we got inside the Odin coil. I've got a, I believe a Bengal flying around there. From the Cloud Tech. This is all in engine, I believe. All in effectively in game. We've got an Idris flying around here. The coil from some range. So that's probably Odin 1 that got destroyed in that white dwarfiness. And again, that could potentially be Odin 1 on one of its moons or something else. Got some mining facilities because it was a big mining sort of system. Like lots of them destroyed or damaged or under constant bombardment from asteroids now. We've got the Shubin mining facility, the Archon station, which is like 3 kilometers long. And this is, I believe, the Assidio com array here. There's some very cool, interesting structures and stuff that will get added to the Position Universe, either their architecture. So here is where we've got a bridge of what I believe is the Kingship, or a Vandal capital ship. So we've got like opening up the what I believe is the main bridge, so like a viewer screen. Got a couple of Vandal warriors there, who are, I assume they're young warriors because they got full armor on. So the less armor a Vandal is wearing, the better they are in combat. I think's the idea. But I haven't seen his face very well there. They are obscuring the faces on purpose. Got some T-posing Vandal on the bridge, like we saw. It looks like there's 2 levels to the bridge as well. I mean, it might not necessarily be a Kingship. I mean, that could be a Harvester. It could be a Driller. Got them deploying a Vandal Blade. Well, is that a blade or is that a stinger? I think it's a blade. We've got the Vandal Blade there. And we've got the glaive. And then we've got the new scythe. So they are giving the Vandal ships a bit more of a rework to bring it in line with the blade, is the idea. I might have said that those Vandal ships in the wrong order or something, or I clicked around them or said something wrong, but that's the new scythe, and they're updating the glaive and sort of all the Vandal ships to bring them in line. I love the new Vandal look. I loved the way the blade looked when it came out. I went, obviously they're gonna update the rest of the Vandal ships to look like this. I think this looks fucking fantastic. It looks very old school Klingon. Got the Stinger here. I believe it's the Stinger anyway, the heavy fighter, and then I think that's a Vandal Driller, although I can't be sure. Now this is sort of like a point of contention. So what are these ships? So I believe these are shipjacker ships, so pirate ships that have sort of like junker ships that have got, you know, are these the Buccaneers engines or Drake ship engines stuck to a Mustang Alpha, and then neons and stuff on them. Sorry, I've got I'm a bit blocked up. Apologies. So I really like these. I think these look cool. Again, I think this is another shipjacker, sort of cutlass. And then we've got the inside of a destroyed Idris, I think. An Idris that's destroyed here. Hard to tell what's going on here. There's an engine. There's an Idris. Is Javelin? Javelin. Maybe it's a Javelin. With both Javelins. I can't really tell. Got some derelicts. It's a Javelin on both. I said it was Javelin in my video. I hope it was Javelin. Looks like a Javelin. That looks like a Javelin as well. then we've got the OMC base. So this is a big pirate base, I assume, in the Odin system as well. No. Not really sure what's going on there. It's like maybe it's a big power plant or something. But it looks very cool. And then we've got inside Bengal, I believe. The lift's moving stuff around. I think this is on board the Archon station again with the tram. Oh, it's quite possible that it was a tram on the Bengal. I'm assuming that this is a shop area on the Archon station again. We've got a little repair room. The Argo Mole. Studio Comore again. Very round circular corridors. Round circular building. Control rooms. And then go back to what I believe is Archon Station. I thought it was very, very, very cool for a little bit of a teaser from CIG. Right, what we got? What we got here? The ship. It's the Citadel. If I rented a ship example of Prospector and equipped an upgrade laser, if it expired, would I use the laser? I think you should try to remove those upgrades before the end of the rental, because at the moment it's very likely that you'll lose it. In the future, that won't happen. You'll get it back. But being unaware of basic weekly news of the game's development and asking really dumb questions, where you obviously aren't even. What? Yep. Don't know if you're angry or not. Can't tell. If you're allowed to ask questions, feel free to ask questions. That's all good. Ask simple questions. You can ask complex questions. You can ask questions that I don't possibly know the answer of, but I'll give you an opinion. There is going to be aftermarket customization of our ships to a high level beyond just changing the equipment and weapons. So you will be able to like paint your ship. You will be able to do aesthetic changes and interior changes to your ship. And are we going to be able to put neons on our ship? I don't know. If it's available in the game for Squadron 42, then it's probable that you can do it in some way in the Persistent Universe eventually. So a strong maybe. Should the Pyro system have Prison Planet? Like, so Pyro, no. Pyro is going to be a pirate system with no law beyond the whatever is enforced at Ruin Station, and bounty hunters probably coming in and out. There is going to be a automated prison on Aberdeen in the Stanton system, though. Do you have any idea what amenities, if any, the C2 Hercules will have? I would assume it would have beds, eating area, so kitchenette, storage, and bathroom. The medium to large ships typically have beds for their crew amount, and food and sleeping areas. Living areas, so you can eat. Do you think they'll ever address the cargo ramps on the ships where you land on the ground on uneven ground? Yes, so what they need to have is they need to have something like the landing gear's got, so it springs onto the ground, and maybe it can even sink into the ground. And the same with elevators that come out of the ship, and the same with the landing ramps. I think ship-to-station docking will actually improve that. Some of the tech behind that should allow the movement between those physics grids and the merging of physics grids, which is sort of what you need as well, so that things can travel up and down them, and they can, even if they partly no-clip into the ground, I think that's better than what we have at the moment. Is everyone okay with Brexit? Not everyone is okay with Brexit. Some people are and some people are not. People aren't running out of food and water, though. Don't worry. That's a madness. Right. So, I just wanted to maybe show off the original Squadron 42 cinematic trailer as well. Again. So there's a lot of ships shown off here. We've got the Javelin, we've got the Bengal, we've got a full-on battle group, got Hammerheads, got Idris. Gillian Anderson. So this should look significantly better by now. I've got Mark Hamill as Old Man. Again, we've got back in the Odin system. I think 99% of the game looks to be set in the Odin system, Squadron 42 Episode 1. Gonna wing a Gladius, flying around. I'm assuming that's you, an Old Man. Got a man that could be Seto Khan from the AMC. Might not be. Got the base that we looked at a minute ago again. Actually, maybe I should splice these two visual trailers together. It's Craig Fairbass playing that guy that they had to scale up. Got a Vandal fleet approaching a planet. Coming out of Cloud, lots and lots and lots of big ships. Ah, there's the opening up to look at the planet there. Load of Vandal warriors murdering people. Actually, I had a good look at their face there. Oh, that's good. That's fine. That's fine. Thought I wasn't actually displaying on my screen. Got Gary Oldman as Admiral Bishop there. Looking at potentially what was Vega, I suppose. Got on board the thingamajig station, Archon station. Human Interstellar, dude that got shot. Some gravity water. Wing of Fighters, the F8. Got Henry Cavill's character and a load of other people as well. I'm attacking a Vandal fleet. And it looks like we're fighting a load of humans, probably OMC or shipjackers, over the Archon station there. But I'm really looking forward to Squadron 42. So the feature complete beta for that is planned for Q3 2020. Doesn't mean that's when it's going to be done. Certainly doesn't mean that's going to be when it's in other people's hands. That could just be internal dev builds and tests. And we might get access to it as Evacardi or something, and they might make a little playable demo. It'd be great if they have a little playable demo. Fucking great. Yeah, Squadron 42 potentially released end of 2020, according to Mark Hamill and BBC Click. No word on from CIG yet though, and I think it's very optimistic to think it will be released end of 2020. But I'll be optimistic because that's what I want. Do you do the Vandal harvest people? I believe they do, and they certainly go to planets and all the people are then gone. They take them for something. I'm sorry, Anchor Gary, if I gave you a cold. I do apologise. What control setup do you use for Star Citizen? Mouse and keyboard for the most part. I do have a And my favourite HOTAS is a Verpal Constellation Delta. It's actually with my mate DC at the moment. But that is my favourite setup. But it's not the easiest to use. So mouse and keyboard's really good for me because I can switch between FPS and ship and camera controls and doing other stuff quickly on the fly. And that's what I want as a content creator. But Verpal Constellation Delta can recommend great HOTAS. By far the best. And I've used a Warthog, I've used a load of Logitech and Thrustmaster stuff. Right. I am pretty. That's what I wanted to say. My cold is affecting me quite badly, so I'm gonna get some potential turkey soup, maybe. Oh, I don't like reheated turkey. I'll make something. I need to make something with some turkey leftovers. Eat that, have some flu pills, and have a little napsy, and maybe try and get a video done later today if I wake up, like in the middle of the night. Because there's still content I want to do for a 3.8 state of the game, which is going to take a bit more research and a bit more playing, because there's only like I've done a lot in the PTU. I need to do it in the current live build, and then I need to research the common bugs and have a look and see what other people's opinions are as well, and sort of like merge that into my state of the game. There's also a lot of obviously general gameplay I want to do with 3.8. I want to do a look at 2019, what we got this year, and there's loads of other stuff. So what else we got here? I've got some other questions. Will Squadron 42 still require you to have an internet connection? Oh, I don't know. I'd hope not, but I don't know. What's the latest word on co-op in Squadron 42? I would not expect co-op in Squadron 42. Initial release anyway. It'd be great if they did. That's what they originally wanted to do, but they changed that pretty quickly and said, we'll have maybe you can replay the missions afterwards, or maybe we'll make them available some other way, or maybe we'll just have historic missions you can play co-op, which is basically what Theatres of War and Arena Commander sort of become. So hopefully they do it in the future. Though I'd love to play Squadron 42 co-op. I love co-op games more than I like single player games by far. Following on from my last question, do you recommend HOTAS or joystick? Joystick is apparently a superior setup for general flight and sort of like control. I love a throttle. I love HOTAS. So my preference is HOTAS, but Noobifi's preference is joystick. Right. We are going to go host someone and give them some love. If you've got any feedback you want to give me, any content you'd like me to do, anything you'd like me to look at, if you've got an org that you'd like me to look at for an org spotlight, because I'm starting them in January properly again, then message me at contact@boredgamer.co.uk or go onto my Discord, discord.gg/boredgamer, and leave a message there in the appropriate thread. If you like advertising your org, that's the best place to do it. And then I have a look at that for people that I want for the org spotlight. You don't need to give me anything for the org spotlight. And if you do desperately want to give a gift or a ship away for a giveaway, we can discuss that after I've already accepted for the org giveaway. As additionally to that, separately from that, I don't want any barriers to entry. I don't want to be taking bribes for doing it. I want it to be a community thing. COT is Skynet. Fuck it, why not? What would be the most effective way to convince Star Citizen to scan your head into the game and let it be the primary news reporter in the verse? I really want to see you on all the TVs. Oh my fucking god, I love it. I'm hoping to get my head scanned when the next possible time to have it done in the UK is. I will try and get it done. Okay? Right. I am going to dash off. Let's go find someone to host. Well, thanks for joining me today. I just wanted to do a quick sort of like hello, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year to everyone. I hope everyone did have a genuinely good Christmas and a genuinely good New Year so far, or start end of year. New Year's soon. what is it, a couple of days? 3 days? 4 days? Some days away. Who else is strumming at the moment? We'll give Maya some love. Because I love Maya. Perfect. But yeah, thanks very much for all the questions. Thanks very much for joining me today. Oh, some people have sent me some more stuff. In my opinion, the first outfits they need to do is hand mining and the FPS weapons vanishing and not working. Yes, they do. Like, the FPS weapons not firing and being dropped is so fucking soul destroying and annoying. Especially when they've got FPS missions, effectively, now. I've had other streamers talk about you. Only good things, by the way. And when I saw you on the dashboard, I thought I'd come and check you out. Thank you very much, Mayhem, but I am just ending now and passing you over to Maya. So, apologies. Thank you very much for all the love. Firearms and dual jamming and losing held items when you die. Yeah, that's fucking annoying as hell. Slimer, thank you very much for the subscription. People are sending me money and subscribing now at the best / worst possible time, depending on your point of view. Right, have you got any other questions just before I go? Not that I can see easily. Cool. Thank you very much for joining me, guys. Hope you have a great New Year. Hope you had a great Christmas. I'll get on to some more videos as soon as I can. And yeah, you take care, guys. Love you loads. And bam. / raid Meyer. Perfect. Yeah. Mwah, mwah. And all that jazz. This is Maya's channel. I'll put this in here as well. People from the YouTubes might want to go join him. Thanks very much for watching, guys. You take care, and I'll talk to you soon.